in this endless stream of failing products and that are coming out of most AAA companies, it's odd to find, a couple that was like, what, if they actually made, made this product specifically for the consumer with the consumer taste in mind, it would actually be good. Like the way, say, Blizzard made World of Warcraft. Like, if you look at just type in just old Blizzard World of Warcraft fan art or, like, official art, and you'd see that the world just looks inviting. It's like, wow, I actually want to be part of this. And even, like, even Ubisoft, for an example, like Assassin's Creed that Ubisoft had, like, you were instantly intrigued. And I played a game called Endless Legends. It kind of had garbage combat, but the unit models looked good. The economy was alright. The world building and city building was alright. Then I played Endless Space, and it was the same thing. But again, just look up old game like pictures on Google, and some of them you'd be like, oh yeah, I've seen that on the background of a friend's computer before. And then even though probably didn't know what the hell it was, they Googled it and it looked good. And there's even decent products today that you wouldn't think would be popular because the mindset, at least amongst developers, between the game journalists, is you shouldn't treat games like genres. You should treat them like, they should have a little bit of everything. So a little bit of stealth, a little bit of, a hub world, a little bit of pseudo open world, a little bit of covert, a little bit of hack and slash, a little bit of drama. And you have a game that I thought was amazing, which was that what the fuck? RoboCop Rogue City. That was an amazing game, but it tried being so many things, and if it would have just stuck to two or three or even four of those things, it would have been a good game. But they tried to just throw a lot of things in there that I guess makes sense according to the world, but for the player experience, at least my personal experience, just seemed off. Now, why am I getting into this tirade? Well, turns out Ubisoft shuts down XDefiant, which, had a chance to compete with, you know, Call of Duty and Black Ops. And again, it's kind of like had the maps sort of like older Ubisoft shooters. And I'm looking at this and it looks alright. It's just, and they had the means to build upon this, but they're shutting it down. I mean, Ubisoft, even in this photo, they're shutting it down. Or picture, they're shutting it down. And you're like, well, this has potential. I mean, I guess technically, no, it's kind of pulling from all its older games. But if they just sort of built upon it, if they built upon it aesthetically, built upon it, story-wise, and I get it, it's supposed to be a multiplayer shooter. But you see, Rainbow Six Siege, which I guess still makes them money. I played For Honor, which it was alright when it came out, but then kind of went into cancer. Like, I couldn't even force myself to play it with friends. But it had an interesting and, unique combat style and situation. It's not like Ubisoft cannot make decent games. It's just, I think they're just at this point where they're just unable to do so. Because again, we're looking at Assassin's Creed. And it's like that thing is gonna. I think they made the right decision to push it back because of controversy. But is it gonna sell? Maybe it might sell a few more copies. But people are just gonna wait for it to come out. You're gonna have major YouTubers play it and shit on it. And the fact that it's what the 15th Assassin's Creed game. And that's also a bad thing because XDefiant had a chance to be its own unique thing, but they're shutting it the hell down. And I'm assuming if you paid any money into it, you're just going to be left holding the damn bag. And isn't it Ubisoft that's going after like Steam and telling them, oh hey, you should stop showing the players upvotes and downvotes of games, and Steam's like, shut the fuck up. Like, who are you to us? Like, you're selling your shit on our platform and you're demanding we bend the knee to you, a failing company. And Ubisoft is failing as we speak. Right? Its stock is so goddamn low, and their shareholders are going to war with the leading family that has Ubisoft. And because of that, they have their own internal things. They're stretched extremely thin. And they have so many other IPs that they've done absolutely nothing with. And the few that they actually do something with, like XDefiant, gets shut down. You have games like Star Wars Outlaws that fail, and like Assassin's Creed that's going to fail. And you think, okay, well, it is so easy to figure out what the gamer wants, what the consumer wants, because you can just look at, games that actually made a lot of money and try to replicate, not do the same thing per se, but, attempt to try to figure out, okay, what did Helldivers 2 do to make the player want to keep playing? What did Black Myth Wukong do to sell a lot of copies? What is hell the Marvel Rivals is doing to make people play the game? And that game's from China, right? What is Nikkei guys like? You have so many things to look at, but everything's trying to be Fortnite. And it's like, okay, Fortnite is fine when you play Fortnite, but if everyone wants to be Fortnite, then, well, why would I play, say, XDefiant if I just fucking play Fortnite? And it's also the fact that, again, Ubisoft has drunk the Kool-Aid of disregarding its consumers, not listening to them, doing the thing where it's like, oh no, they're all just a bunch of trolls. We know better than you, the consumer, the people that put food on our table. And that mindset just leads to AAA companies, gaming companies' destructions, right? In the gaming industry as a whole. At least the AAA gaming industry is just self-destructing, and they don't know what to do. It's like they've tried nothing, and they're all out of options. It's like, well, maybe there needs to be, a purge of these companies, because above even the ideologies shoving themselves into your games, if you look at half the games that are considered woke and are just garbage, and people say it's garbage because it's woke, and I'm like, well, you strip the woke away, it's just a bad game. Now, I guess the politics and all that is there to, I guess, drum up controversy, because, again, any publicity is good publicity according to these companies. But are you benefiting the IP, or are you destroying? Like, are you benefiting the company, ensuring that people will buy the next product, or are you just ensuring it's a destruction? And I think, again, in the case of Concord, the destruction. In the case of Star Wars Outlaws, it's destruction. in the case of so many games, in the case of Dragon Agent, Veilguard, Destruction, like I have no faith for Mass Effect because it's almost like they're not allowed to make games like they've made in the early 2000s when games could actually fucking sell and actually did sell, right? You know what made gaming popular, and now that it's popular, it's trash because people are now in the industry that don't care to make the games better. They don't care for the consumer. They just latch on to popular thing, and then yell at you, the consumer, and shame you for not buying their product. And you're like, and people aren't even mad anymore. They're indifferent. They're like, oh, another shit Assassin's Creed. Okay. I'm gonna play Nikkei Gods of Victory. It's like, oh, another Call of Duty. It has its fan base that'll still play it, and that's fine. But the majority is like, well, I'll just play Black Myth Wukong. And you have games like XDefiant that actually had a chance, but they're shutting it down. It's like, okay. Well, I guess because of what's happening with Ubisoft, they can't afford to keep it up. But if they could just make decent games, like people aren't asking for you to reinvent the wheel. People are just, nowadays people are just wanting a functional wheel. Like this is the problem; they just can't even make the wheel functional, or the wheel sell the wheel for people to use it. They're like, oh, they make a bad wheel, then they shame you, the consumer, for not buying the wheel for ideological reasons. And oddly enough, people will defend these ideological reasons that don't play games. Because even if you agree with the ideology, you should also agree that you just want good games. The product in the game as a whole should be good. But, anyway, that's all I really gotta say about this. It's just odd how things that actually have, a chance just gets booted. But that's all I gotta say about this. Peace.